Hey, welcome to the Steve Davis Show. Special guest today is Jim Holzman, my annual guest for the New Mexico High School Coaches Association.
So you got it. You did it right.
I did it right. I had a little cheat sheet, but I got it right. And
we're in now.
We're ready to go. And you know, this is something that you know, this is the 10th year for Buster Mabry, and you know, he's excited. He wants to do a lot of great things. He's done a lot of great things for the Coach Association and done a lot of, you know, he's thought outside the box and brought a lot to the table. But this year, he's condensed it a little bit. It's going to start Monday the 24th, go through Wednesday the 27th. Usually it goes 4 days. And this year, because of the budget restraints, he took into account, and he took 1 day off, and now he's condensed everything. And what a schedule we have starting next Monday.
Buster's good. Buster has made quite an impact on the coaching school, north-south high school, football, basketball, everything. Buster's got his act put together, and I think he's doing a marvelous job. You know, he stepped in some big shoes when you think of Bobby Gibbs.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, you talk about Bobby, well, a good friend of yours and good friend of almost anybody that's ever met Bobby Gibbs. So.
That's right. Bobby was a worker, an organizer, and before him, Doc Ledbetter. Now, Doc Ledbetter, Bobby Gibbs are the only two previous leaders we've had in the Coaches Association. And, you know, that goes back a lot of years when Doc had it. And remember, this was not always the New Mexico High School Coaches Association. It used to be the New Mexico High School Coaches and Officials Association. And that has quite a legacy going back to about 1938. And it was the Officials Association. We didn't have an association. And it developed, and it was a great thing that they did when they brought the coaches and officials together. The Officials Association invited the coaches in, and it was a wonderful thing that we could get communication. That communication thing between coaches and officials, you know, it's a very important type thing.
Well, I tell you what, just, you know, what it does really, just let's, because both sides are competitive. Everybody, you know, you think about it, everybody wants to do the right thing, and when you're an official, you've got to make that judgment call. And one thing that, talking with Dana, from the Mexico, you know, MMA, is that, you know, it's about 85% of those calls are correct, and that's on a split second. That's remarkable for the training and the dollars they have to train them with in the state of New Mexico.
Well, you know, part of being a good official is experience. You have to get under the gun.
Is it the same about coaching? Is it a little bit about experience, or is it about having good players?
Yeah, that's right.
You or a little bit of both.
You have to have the magic play.
That's right.
You know, and it's a two-way street. But you know, learning to be an official is a very difficult thing, dependent upon the people that you are officiating for. Everybody thinks they are a great official, you know, but you have to build your program. You have to have a little bit of insight of what's going on. You have to start like at the junior varsity, move to the C teams, you know, up the line to high school ball. And
well, you can go before that and go to AYBL, and go to Yaffle football. I mean, that's where that's where you start learning to get that experience.
That's right, Steve. You know, it's very difficult to be a good official. You have to be conscientious. You're giving up your time, and you have to put up with a bunch of coaches too. And that two-way street of communication, I think, is one of the biggest problems that we have nowadays. The one side and the other side, they see it just a little bit differently.
Well, we were talking about communication, and this is what, this is what next week is about. It's about communication of things. I mean, if you look at this, I got this, all the list of things that are going to happen. Money, you better have, and you're going to be checking everybody in. Everybody's got to be able to know where to go. But I tell you what, there's some good speakers coming in town. We'll go into discussion about that here in a minute. But that's what this is about. It's just about it's starting the next year and anything, and everybody getting together and communicating about how to make next year and many more years to come better.
You're right. You have to move forward. And when you're moving from, let's say, a junior high official to the JV officials to the varsity officials, and then classifications, AAA, 5A, things like that. You have to build yourself up into it. You just can't come off the street and be a good official. It takes a little bit of work. And the psychology of the whole thing between the coaches and the officials is very important, because what they do is going to rub off on the kids. And that's what the whole thing's all about. You're building a program for students, young people, and they need leadership. And it's very important to give those kids leadership and be able to do it in the correct way.
Well, not only do the referees need that, it's also the coaches when they come in. You're never too old to learn something in anything that you're doing. And this week of it is open to the public. I want to, Buster told me to make sure that we talked about that a little bit. You can go to NMHSCA website and sign up for $60. You can go to the clinic and be part of the Coaches Association and enjoy all these guest speakers that we're going to talk about, and also all the things that all the issues that are coming up or have came up in the past years that they're trying to work through to make things better.
Well, you're so correct on the whole thing, and Buster is too, and we all realize it. You have to educate parents. There's so many of the parents that's my boy, that's my girl. They are so focused on what their children are doing that sometimes they miss the team concept. Now, a lot of parents at home can really help by defending the officials and coaches, so that they get a remarkably better impact on how to get along with the public. If you have the coaches and teachers working with the parents to help the kids understand what's going on, hey, you can do that, and boy, you start improving yourself 100%.
You know what? Driving over here, I went 610 Jeff Symbiote. I was listening to, it's about a 20-minute drive from my house, and something that really struck me, really interesting, Jim, on this. You talk about parents and kids and the way things are changing. College, and I'm going to skip over from high school to college just for a second, just because it kind of disappointed me in but it's a reality of what happened. We're talking about building programs, which you've done. You can take a kid from a freshman year, or younger, going to when we went to the Catholic games and watched all them develop and bring them up and get them into your freshman program, and then go into your, to the senior. Well, it was amazing, in college now, you can't build. You got to win now, and I don't like that. I like the old tradition. I like seeing a young kid go to any program and go through all 4 years of the program and seek the rewards when he becomes a senior. Not try to seek the rewards when he's a freshman, because unless you're a great athlete, that doesn't happen a lot.
No, you're right. Everybody wants a reward.
Right.
They all want to be all-stars, things of that. They're not building the team concept. Coaches have to go out and build for the team. You can't go out and favor one over another. And the parents can really help by going out and helping the children understand that we have a concept, and that concept is sportsmanship. You still go, the National Federation, they're really strong on this sportsmanship and understanding what's going on. But it's difficult because the parents sometimes want more out of their children than the kid has the capability. You know, kids aren't built to be all-Americans overnight. It takes a time, it takes understanding. And you have to be a teacher. I really believe that that is one concept that helps at the high school level. Most of them, the coaches are teachers on the faculty. They can observe the kids in the classroom. They can walk the halls with them. They can implore them to go out and be good people. And that's one of the things about coaching, that you have to go out and teach. And one of the things you have to teach is sportsmanship, behavior, respect. And when your kids have respect, they're, you know, it goes this way. What do you want to do? Say thank you. You know, those are two of the biggest words in the dictionary. Say thank you. I appreciate it. Something like that. But not go out and slam everybody and tell them the officials are wrong and the coaches are lousy and goes like that. You have to understand the other side of the fence. And so many parents do not understand. They haven't played the game. And if they have played it, they haven't done it in a long time. So you have to go out and teach sportsmanship. And that's the thing that goes along with this legacy of going out and let's do it right.
Well, Jim, we're going to go to the top 10 plays of the week and come back and talk more about the New Mexico High School Coaches Association.
Well, that's a good idea.
He got away with one nonetheless.
He definitely created some contact.
Here we go, 2-1 game on. Sam Gleedle's gonna finish it. Check the replay and show you how it happened in just a moment. Here's Luke Lawrence.
Very nice PK.
So it's going to be Jack Clancy's going to take this. Domiciano's there too, but I don't think there's going to be a left-footed take. Clancy, yes! Jack Clancy.
Hey, I said it earlier in the broadcast, Adam. He loves to.
This is dangerous as Gleedle will leave it off. Pacheco, does he want to have one? A cutback. Pacheco's in trouble now as he tries to switch it. Here's a 1-2, and again it's Gleedle. Gleedle's going to try to bend one. Yes! How about it from Sam Gleedle? It's gorgeous on the inside of the foot. And don't forget, every Proview Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.ProviewNetworks.com to buy your DVD today.
Hoops New Mexico Basketball Courts is coming to Albuquerque soon. 10 full basketball courts and a whole lot more. For more information, contact Dan Serrano at hoopsnm@aybl.com.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Hey, welcome back to Steve Davis Show. We have Jim Holzman here. We're talking about the New Mexico High School Coaches Association. And Jim, you know, one thing, starting Monday, July 24th at 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And then after that, there's a good old, the old coaches social after that. But something a little bit different. Time schedule, it's Monday through Wednesday. It's open to the public. You can go to the MHSCA website and spend $60 and get to. You can go in and just feel like you're a coach and participate. And I tell you what, I know you get excited. I know Mary Lois gets excited. You guys will be working it. You'll be selling tickets to the. I call it the old steak fry, but it's coaches social now. And I tell you, I can't wait till Monday. I mean, it's that exciting to see all the people come in and people talking war stories, talking about the old times, talking about the future, coaches talking about what their players. But what's more special about it all is it's for everybody. It's every coach. They provide some things during the week. They provide something for everybody.
You know, Steve, it's a wonderful organization and it has something for everyone. You pick out what you want to do and you're going to listen to some real high-class people giving lectures and instructions. And you go and you have to be open-minded about it all. You can't go in there and think that I know it all. What you have to think is, I'm going to go in there and what else can I learn? That thing is very important, to open your mind, that you can go in and you're willing to listen. Now, it doesn't mean you have to do it, but at least you can listen and you might just pick up something that really helps your program. The coaches there that speak, people like that, it's just wonderful to give them input to young people who can come in and are willing to listen.
I tell you, I'm just kind of, we're going to have probably not enough time to go down to every speaker and go down to but we're going to hit some high points. And if we upset anybody, I'm just going to blame Jim Holzman because we weren't ready to go. But I'm just saying, I'm going to throw it at you. But I'm just saying this. I just look at this, itinerary right now, and here's Larry Waters and Scott Evans.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Lawrence Johnson from Alamogordo. There's some people right there that's worth the price of admission just to hear them speak.
Well, you just named 3 gentlemen there that are you don't find anything better. That's the cream of the crop. When you have people like this, they're coming in and giving their.
That's the start. That starts. That's 1, 2, 3. And then it just keeps getting better.
Yeah, I tell you, they're all good. They wouldn't be there if they weren't good. Buster's done a marvelous job of bringing them all along.
And then, what Buster does, he always tries to bring in somebody that has notoriety nationwide and things like that. And he has Chris Herron, which is from 3030, and which is from ESPN. He's coming in and speaking. He's basically going to speak about his life. He was an athlete and got in trouble with drugs, and I don't want to go into detail. You got to go see and listen to him, but he's going to be for a whole hour, and that's just, you know, you just said it. This is for everyone. Well, everybody's had the temptation of drugs, alcohol in their life, and here's a guy that recovered, and he's trying to give back to the world of how not to get into that.
Yeah, that's wonderful that you can have people that have recovered and are willing to come back and tell it about it. Part of learning is being able to listen, and he's gone through a lot of experiences. Now, you listen to someone like that, now they might not all be touching what you're doing at the present time or have ever done, but you certainly can understand what's going on, what has happened, and what's the future of it all.
I tell you, so now we have right there. We have 3 guest speakers. We hadn't even got to lunchtime yet. You better be coming in with a lot of energy to hear these motivational speeches, because these guys are going to be good. And then it goes into in the afternoon. You know, this is something that we said is for everybody. You know, and I'll just go through the still. You got volleyball, baseball, cross country, football, golf, soccer, softball, tennis, and basketball. You know, some of the names here: Audrey Gentry, she's won volleyball, I think 2 years in a row. She's got something. Been on the Steve Davis show. Great speaker, great motivation, and an inspiring young woman. Gerald Panada. He's going to beat me. Baseball coach at La Cueva, wins the state baseball tournament, and it's got a legend of his name in baseball. I'm just sitting there looking at these names, and I'm like, wow, how did Buster get all these guys to commit?
I tell you, Buster's doing a good job because he's hiring people who are competent. They're not just guys that pick up on the street, you know. They've all been winners. And what they say means a lot to a coach listening, so he can get there and transmit those thoughts to his players and the coaches and players and parents. He gets the point across. But, you know, one guy like that, that's a coaching clinic right in one hand.
Well, and in some names, I'm just going through this real deal is, you know, basketball, and listen to these speakers: A.J. Brantlett, Amber Battle, and Daniel Ferris.
That's all right.
I mean, those guys they played in New Mexico. They're ambassadors, but they, both Ferris and A.J. Brantlett played.
Well, I remember A.J. Brantlett well, you know.
Right. I think he did, yeah.
He was a real.
I had to bring that up. There, just
I know.
A La Cueva guy that.
We had a good rivalry going at that time between Kenny Thomas and A.J. And
it won between you and Frank Castile. I mean, it was two of the best going at it.
Frank was tough. He's a good coach. You know, Frank has hit all the stages along the way. He built programs, developed programs, had some problems in there, and now trying to keep it going. Frank has done more than a lot of people just due to his years of about 38 or 40. He's been on the bench for about 1,000 ball games. Now you put Frank Castillo.
So you benched him, huh? You benched him. He's been benched for 38 years.
Hey, he's touched all the bases.
No, he's done a great job, and I tell you what, this team, I hear good things are going to happen this year. So, that he's been a little bit down, but again, talking about that thing about kids today transferring, it's not staying in the program and having other ideas of other things they need to be doing is. But one thing about Frank, that he's doing something about it, and this year could be, we'll see the Bears maybe in the state tournament competing for that blue trophy.
When you put over 1,000 games sitting on that bench, you've accomplished something. That's legacy. And I think that Frank right now is one of those people that he had the great years. He's had not too many bad years, but he's touched all the bases along the way. He knows the feeling of winning a state championship. He's had the feeling of not making it to a state championship. And that experience, the only way you can do it is go out there and do it.
Well, I think, talking about experience, one thing that Frank has done and yourself has done in your career is you peaked at the right time. And no matter how your team, you made your team believe, even if you make them believe that they were better than what they were by the end of the year. And at the end of the year, we're seeing it so much this year with, in the last 2 years, Volcano Vista and Rio Rancho that had subpar, season, and they win the state championship.
It's changed. Steve, around 1974 and 5, some of the best teams in New Mexico were all in one district. Albuquerque won it 1 year, Manzano won it for a couple of years, Highland won it. Heck, we were all in the same district. Now you think about that, what we had to go through just against each other.
There was only 2 teams that came out of those districts too.
That's right. And so
I was part of that, and sometimes I was number 3, and I was in a tough, I know maybe not be as, but I was in a pretty tough district between Hobbs, Carlsbad, and Clovis, and Roswell, and Goddard. So those were the 5 in my district at that time.
Boy, to be one of the first 2, you had to be pretty good. And in Albuquerque here, we had Albuquerque, Highland, Manzano, back-to-back in the state championship game. That's pretty good. We were all from the same district.
Many years. I mean, that's. But it's funny how that worked. I mean, you played those teams like 4 times during the season, so it was like, and then they were all packed, and it's pretty amazing.
Well, one of the toughest things, you play a team in your district there, home and away. That's 2 times. You get in the district tournament, you get to the championship game, that's 3 times. You get into the state championship game 4 times. That's when you get good people like that all the way, you're not going to win them all. You just hope that you win yours when the time comes. But that's one of the things that this classification system. And look at Albuquerque right now. Look at I take the team to Gallup. I go across the bridge, and the next stop was Grants. Now the Rio Rancho and the whole community, there's 100,000 people living out there. But man, it used to be that we go across the bridge, and the next stop was Grants, New Mexico.
Well, Jim, we're going to come back. We're going to talk more. We're going to try to get through Wednesday. I don't know if we got enough time to get through Wednesday, but we're almost through Monday. We'll come back, talk a little bit about what's going to happen Monday on July 24th at Crown Plaza. Better throw that in there. So anyway, we're going to come back and talk more about the Coaches Association.
I'm all for that.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Altitude Sports Grill is where Albuquerque's sports fans won't miss a game. With locally crafted brews on tap and refreshingly crisp cocktails. Located in Hotel Cascada, Albuquerque residents find a staycation worth staying for. Catching Lobo sports, enjoying a beer on the beach, or wiping out, Hotel Cascada is home to your urban adventure. Affordable guest rooms, no-hassle water park parties, and much more.
Garden Sorts Team Sales is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Get into the game. Garden Schwartz Team Sales features fine products and apparel from Wilson, Schutt Sports, Speedline, and Russell Athletics. We offer custom embroidery and screen printing services for all of your school or club needs, from team uniforms to school letter jackets. Specializing in all sports and serving all communities, from big schools to small schools, from up north to down south, or all points in between. Garden Schwartz Team Sales. For great prices, friendly staff, and quality products, call Garden Schwartz Team Sales today at 1-800-880-7766 7767. That's 1-800-880-7767. Since 1939, Garden Schwartz Team Sales is a proud supporter of New Mexico youth athletics.
Don't forget, every Proview Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewnetworks.com to buy your DVD today.
Hey Lobo fans, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Samantha.
Jaguar Land Rover Albuquerque has been a family-owned business since 1988. The 2017 Jaguar F-Pace has been named the winner of the 2017 World Car of the Year and World Car Design of the Year.
Land Rover's signature terrain response system is flawless against any curveball New Mexico weather can throw at you.
We have a class-leading extended warranty on all Jags and Land Rovers and one of the greatest pre-owned inventories in the state of New Mexico.
Call 505-797-3600 to schedule a test drive.
Hey, welcome back to Steve Davis Show. We have Jim Holzman. We're talking about the New Mexico High School Coaches Association, and we're in the afternoon. We got the morning taken care of in a little bit, but you know, some of the things, you know, we talked about. This is, you know, you can go to NMHSCA website, $60. You can, it's open to the public. Buster would love it if you want to hear any of these speakers speak. Unbelievable speakers, but you know, we're going to get into the later the afternoon, and again, some of the things that will be talked about: volleyball, baseball, track and field, football, golf, soccer, softball, tennis, and basketball. And I think the one that really great speakers for all those deals. I want to bring in Paul Ware from the University of New Mexico. Unbelievable. It's the first time in many years that we've had the UNM coach come in and speak at the Coach Association. Shows respect that he has for our athletes, and it also has the time to talk to all the coaches that admire Lobo basketball.
You know, that's wonderful. It's great to have New Mexico coaches come in and tell high school coaches just what it's like. They've been up there at the top. And they can tell you a lot of things if you're willing to listen. But I just think that's just great that we do have Birminghams and Wires and all these people come in and want to teach.
Well, you know what, and Ray's coming in too. He's going to be one of the speakers that's going to be, besides Paul Ware. And there's also a name here. I don't know him, but he's the baseball coach at Terry Davis at New Mexico State,
sure.
and he's going to be here. So it's just not all UNM. It's, and again, that goes back to Buster, and I mean, you look at what he's done here and created. And to do it all in a timely week to go, that takes a lot of organization, a lot of skills, and also the respect that coaches from the collegiate level, the high school, to come in next week.
You know, you think of Buster, you know, just think, go back a few years, since 1938 or so, and we've only had 3 directors. 3. Doc Ledbetter, Bobby Gibbs, and Buster. Now, that's a legacy in itself, that these people could put this program together and keep it going, and it hasn't been easy. You know, it's a little bit of a financial stress ever so often, but his organizational skills are, you know, one thing he has the ability to use that doggone computer. He can rattle off all those doggone things. Hey, I'm still writing longhand.
He can use a computer, and he also uses his text, you know, his text on his phone, and that's one thing. And one thing I learned with Buster, you know, he's so many people calling him, especially this. I don't call him anymore. You know, I don't bother him. him and I, we went to lunch last week, and we got our little schedule, and that's my last contact with Buster, because he is going to be taking
he's in
care
another
of,
world.
Right, he's on a different level right now.
Yeah, right. I understand. That's a good job.
Well, we're going to end the day again with some of these things that be contradicted, but you got volleyball, baseball, cross country, football, golf, soccer. Another UNM coach, soccer, and that's Fishbein, and what an unbelievable job he's done in soccer.
A marvelous job.
And he's rebuilding this year, and the good things are going to. He's had a little couple down seasons, but this year I hear good things are going to happen for the for soccer. Good thing about that, Proview Networks will be right there. We're going to do a number of the soccer games, and that's something we haven't done in like 3 or 4 years, and we're excited to be part of that. And also Lobo baseball. We did Lobo baseball last year, so for Ray Birmingham.
It's wonderful, wonderful. How to expose the high school coaches to the next level. You know, people don't understand that next level. That's quite a job when you get up there. University coaching, the budget is different, recruiting is different. You have to go out and look for the best. Sometimes you make a mistake on your recruiting, but that's one of the things that you have to face. But overall, it's a program for everybody. There's something for everybody in the state of New Mexico to listen to these people and get their background, what they've done, and how to do it again.
Well, another one that not only is it we got local, but the golf coach from UTEP, and I don't want to butcher his name. I'm going to try to say it very punctual. Okay, is that Scott Lieberworth is going to come in and speak in golf, and that just shows you that there's some good golfers in the state of New Mexico, and he wants his name out here, so he wants to get them down into Texas.
You know, are you going to take golf lessons from him?
You know, I'm beyond golf lessons. You know, that's one thing. You just gotta. One thing I've learned to be in golf though is mentally tough. Okay, so you know, I just don't believe I'm out of a hole. Now, it may take me a long time to get there, but eventually I get there.
Do you use a golf cart?
Yes, I do, and you know, it's kind of fun, and I have to bring out my driver's license because I got a few tickets on the golf course for not having proper etiquette.
Well, knowing how you and I have sat up in the evenings and talked till late hours, I get up in the morning, I call you, and I think you're going to be down here at the desk, you know, but no, you're out in the golf course.
I know you. I get you. You know, it's something that you've caught me now a few times, and I like to get up early, 5:30, 6 o'clock, and play 9 holes, and be back to work at 8 o'clock, and nobody knows I ever was at the golf course except for the early risers that think they're going to try to catch me in bed there. So,
well, you know, you're out playing golf, but I'm just coming home.
Well, that's a good thing. I'm glad you made it home. That's a good thing.
Me too.
So anyway, we got through Monday. I mean, unbelievable. No, we haven't got through Monday. We have the social thing. It's $6.30 deal. It's $5 per person, and if you don't pay $60, come in and pay $5, and you get to see. There'll be 700 coaches, athletic directors, superintendents.
You know, it ought to be called
principals.
It ought to be called
MMA. I mean,
it ought to be called the Liars Clinic.
That part right there.
They have stories that they did what, you did what, when, and you know, if you're a historian, you don't remember that at all. But they have fun, and then they'll bring up some of the things. Remember when you did this and that, and that's when you get the officials and the coaches together, and there's some interesting legacies that come along with that. And, you know, one official that I associated with, I always said that he's a good official. He is but I couldn't catch you. Well, that's right. I could outwit him anytime. You know, going out there and giving him works, then turn your back and walk off, and he didn't know who was even talking to. You have to be shrewd, you know.
Well, here's one I'm going to miss, and you'll appreciate this. And you know, Clovis Purple Pride that I've had in my life, like you wear the green, and I've had the pride in wearing the purple. You know, Coach Roanhouse, he stepped down last year, and that's, you know, I'm hoping he shows up. I mean, he's such an ambassador. I hope he just comes in and hangs out that night, just comes in and eats that night. But what a legacy he's had.
Yeah, hell, he's won more games than any football coach in the state of New Mexico. He's historical. And you know what? He's a pretty good basketball official. He worked some of my games in the state tournament.
You know what? He actually wasn't a bad basketball coach. People don't know he actually coached at that time it wasn't a C team, because in Clovis there was only basically it wasn't a JV team, but it was the sophomore team.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's a little different in Clovis. Sophomore, juniors, and seniors are in high school, and the freshmen are not part of the high school. So it's a little different in mindset, but.
Well, one thing about Eric, when he was coaching basketball, he never understood holding. You know, boy, holding. Well, he was holding and shoving. He had all the techniques, you know, of all these type things.
Well, but he did take something out of Bobby Knight's deal. He had a little chair incident one time, okay, and that's probably how he learned to become a ref, because they sanctioned him from coaching basketball.
Well, I tell you, he learned a lot of tricks.
I tell you, and I witnessed that. Okay, I actually witnessed that. So that's, you know, that's one of the old stories that not too many people know about Eric Roanhouse. So
listen, Eric Roanhouse is one of the, no question in my mind, one of the great coaches in the state of New Mexico. I mean, he did it all. He won games. He went through some tough years and things like that. He went through all this split. This last year, when Clovis had to come to Albuquerque to play games, you know how many times Clovis came to Albuquerque in all sports, back, forth, back, forth.
Well, they must love it, because they got probably tired of going down to the south. Now they're all coming up the Avenue. So I was really surprised that he voted that way. I mean he was good with that. He you know, and one thing that has changed since you've coached is basically the selection and seeding the top 16 or top 12 teams, and depending on what sport you're playing. Is that you need to, before, when I played basketball, most of our schools were Texas teams.
Yeah.
I mean, our first 10, 12 games were Texas teams, but then now what I'm seeing is, since the selection seeding, they want to play New Mexico, where they can get rated, be seen, and that's something that Proview Networks has been very fortunate with. They want to be on Proview Networks.
You know, to get top flight competition in the older days, we played Borger, Texas. We played Winslow, Arizona. We played North Phoenix. We played Phoenix Union.
A little bit tough teams.
Oh boy.
Were you okay? So hey, was the athletic director upset at you, or you know?
Well, that's a long story on that. But we played those El Paso teams: Austin, El Paso High, Jefferson. That is a real intersectional type competition, and they are good.
Well, Jim, we're going to come back and we want to finish up. We're going to talk about, we're not going to probably make it through the Tuesday and Wednesday schedule in the last day, so we're going to hit some high points on those, and we'll come back and again on Tuesday. The biggest thing I can know of is probably, you know, there's going to be some all-star games.
Yeah.
Hoops New Mexico Basketball Courts is coming to Albuquerque soon. 10 full basketball courts and a whole lot more. For more information, contact Dan Serrano at hoopsnm@aybl.com.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all, or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Hey, welcome back to today's show. We have Jim Holzman. We're talking about the New Mexico High School Coaches Association's week. I guess it's the 24th through the 27th, and we've been discussing all the things that have happened. We got through Monday, and we're going to have to cut a little short on basically Tuesday and Wednesday. The highlights on Tuesday, though, is the football. You know, a little bit changed. That was like when you were in charge, that was like the Friday night thing. That was the final thing. Now they moved it up to Tuesday night, basically because guess what?
Yeah.
Football starts next Monday.
That's right.
Or Tuesday. It's either Monday or Tuesday of next week, and the following week, and so they need to get back. And the coaches that are here need to get back and get focused on the upcoming year. You know, overlap of sports is a very difficult thing when you're within your program. You have basketball starting while football's still going on. You have two changes though in 2018. They're going to move it to Thanksgiving. The finals are going to be Thanksgiving.
That's right. It used to be that way, you know. That was the traditional Thanksgiving Day championship football game. But you have to remember that we never had the football championships for 25, 30 years were all voted on. It was not a playoff system. We had the Associated Press, the Albuquerque Journal, Tribune, all that. They voted, all the city, and then the Gallup Independent, Santa Fe New Mexican, Carlsbad Current, Daily Argus. Why, all those teams voted for a state champion. They never had a playoff system until about 1955. Made a little bit difference. Now people claim state championships. Well, back in 1940 I did this. Well, there was no playoff in 1940. It was a vote. People don't realize that there is another era of athletics of which it was a voting system, and people did not like that voting system, and the NMAA did not accept it.
Interesting, very interesting. So we're back to the. Wow, I didn't know that.
Albuquerque High School, but they claim they voted from 1920 on. They voted and were elected state football champions, I believe, 8 times. But you won't find that on the NMAA books because it didn't start with them until the 50s. Interesting, very interesting. We're talking football. We're going to Tuesday night. It's going to be at Community Stadium. That's kind of to me, is really both the basketball game is going to be on Wednesday night, and that really is kind of sad. I mean, because a lot of times, I mean, it's the last time high school kids, that might be their last time that they play in an organized sports. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of times people are playing with against maybe a player that's got higher accolades, and they have their last chance to maybe be seen to get a last second scholarship. Yeah, you know, there's so many things that have changed, like newspapers. The Albuquerque Journal. They used to have competition from the Albuquerque Tribune. Albuquerque Tribune's no longer existing. One newspaper, City of Albuquerque, for a couple 100,000 people. You know, that's pretty tough to cover.
And and James Yotis, I can't speak enough about what James Yotis does and about covering high school sports.
James Yotis and Ken Sickinger, those guys, they are good.
I forgot about Ken Sickinger, but I always think
they're good. They've been around a while now, and they know how to do it. But they have to get the input of many of these games from the coaches calling in the scores. Now, I know a couple of coaches that if they get beat, I'm not sure they're going to call in the score.
You know what? That's very true. That's so funny. That's almost,
I tell you, you better be ready to call in your score if you win the ball game on the road.
That's changed a little bit now, Jim, because of social media and people and tweeting out and Facebook and the whole thing. It gets out quicker.
They get the word.
It's a little bit quicker because we're doing a game and we might get 5 or 6 scores through the night, so it's not near as traumatic, but there's every now and then you don't get a score, and the next day it's not in the newspaper, and you have to go to the Max Preps and look at them and find out really what happened that night.
Well, I tell you, there's a lot of comedy goes along with it that I remember quite well. Rick Wright down at the Journal in Ed Johnson. We play a ball game, they didn't have the score, something like that. I go home, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, telephone rings, and it's Rick or Ed. And now this is 1 o'clock in the morning. What are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, you guys, now. So I get up, get my scorebook out, and we give the score to the people. But those guys were fun to be with, because they understood what we were doing, and they laughed as hard as we did when 1 o'clock in the morning, and what are you doing,
Well, if I remember right, you're talking to Mary Lois about if you should have ran a zone or ran a man-to-man. You just can't get away from the game, is what I understand.
Yeah,
so
I had to look at the video at 2 o'clock in the morning to show her that, hey, why I did that. Then I found out, why did I do that?
Well, I'll tell you, this Coaches Association, Buster, and Buster, we had a great talk, because he's one of those guys that gets up and plays golf with me every now and then. And, he's one of the first to admit that he's very humble, that it's not all about him. But I tell you, he doesn't have secretary. It's amazing what he gets done. He doesn't have it's all on his shoulders.
He
gets board members, but he gets the coach's input. When it comes down to the bottom line of it, a lot of things, all the moving parts are on him.
Hey, he does a great job. Just think of the size of the state. Look at Albuquerque, like we talked about earlier. When we had Albuquerque High and Highland as only 2 high schools. Now what are we? 38 between Bernalillo and Belen?
Yeah. And then I want to talk about one little thing, because Buster, Life of an Athlete, Sally Marcus, they're going to speak on that. That's one of these is going to be talking about and what they bring to the table. And MMA is part of this, part of the deal. Yeah. So they have a whole. I'm looking at this. They get Dusty Young's going to be speaking, Chris Hedges is going to be speaking. Others,
right.
I mean, it's.
I know.
I look at where I'm going with this is. You got the top echelon of educators, speakers, and you get to see these guys in action, and then see the attention that what they bring to the table when they speak.
We try and give them all visual, verbal, the whole thing, put it together there that maybe we can understand just a little bit more. people think, you know, they think sometimes the NMA is the New Mexico Biscuit Association or something like that, you know.
Right, and you know, I'm looking at this, and what a great week, though. I mean, and probably there's going to be anywhere from 700 to 1,000 coaches, athletic directors, principals, superintendents,
officials.
You know, I forgot about that, and I think
athletic trainers.
Yeah, it just doesn't even touch the mandate of what's. I mean, who's going to be here, and again, what the group of people. You know, I really want to talk about. You know, stands out to me is Coach Ware stepping up and being part of this, because for the last 10 or 15 years, the head coach at UNM never has spoke at this thing.
You know, it's just the opposite was in the earlier years. You know, in the earlier years, you talk about the coaches, we bring in a coach from one of the big schools, and the head coaches of we were their assistants.
Right.
Now, it's just a little bit different.
A couple more speakers that we're going to have, and I just want to hit highlights on this. Is Rob Miller's going to speak, and also Mike Morgan are going to speak on, and they're going to be motivational speakers. They come in, and that's a little bit, you know, just talk about. And that's good for all coaches. We all mean everybody needs to be motivated. I mean, especially coming into the new year, because right now, going into the new year, is everybody's 0-0. There's a lot of expectation. Who's going to win the football, volleyball? I mean, there's 18 different sports that we're going to be playing championship games in. When we don't have as good as the media, Proview networks, and people reading, we're going to be really surprised when it comes down to the end who wins those state championships and how their journey began. And it starts actually this weekend.
That's right.
That next week.
That's right. We can take this thing and build it up by generations almost.
So I got a little trick question here. You've been to this thing for many years, and so what's special? What's special about this next week for you?
Relationships. People.
Well, that's great. That's exactly right.
Yeah, but these guys aren't so bad after all, you know. And talking about the old ball games, and understanding their problems within their programs. I know a lot of good coaches that the reason they're not winning is because they don't have the people, they don't have the population. They're in a social area that it's very difficult for them to get the stake eaters out, you know?
Well, Jim, we're going to come to an end here real quick, but again, July 24th is Monday through July 27th is the coaches New Mexico High School Coaches Week, and like I said, people can pay $60 and be part of the whole thing, or they can pay $5 or so to go to the coaches social, which is probably one of the greatest events of the week that I look forward to. But also, it's the football, the North-South football game, 5A and 6A is going to be played on Tuesday night at Community Stadium, and then also on Wednesday is going to be the basketball games, 1A and 2A and 5A and 6A, and what a week. And again, this is our 5th year, and this is 5 years in a row we've done this. And I want to thank you for coming on again and talking about the New Mexico High School Association.
We need 2 more hours and we could really turn it on.
I know, and you got to go to work, so you better get some rest for next week.
I got to get some rest from last night.
That sounds good. All right, thanks a lot, Jim.
Thank you, Steve.